Hello and welcome everybody, and thank you guys for joining me once again. My name is Wilkie and I'm back with more Kritika Online content. This time though, I'm be having a bit of a different guide video or sort of basic tips and tricks for everybody to know who's starting out with Kritika Online. This will be in no particular order, and these are things that I came across when playing the closed beta, and this video might prevent you from either doing the same mistakes as I did or basically learn about a few of these systems so that you actually progress in a proper and right manner. So let's just go into it. The first thing we're going to talk about is the rest point system. In other versions this is called fatigue, or for many other games using a similar system, that's basically the stamina system in the game. If you hover above the bar, it'll basically give you a very brief explanation of what it does. So if you have no elite status, you'll start with 300 points. If you do have the elite status, you get another 30 points on top of that. For the first 130 or 100, depending on if you have it or not, rest points, you'll get 1000% of the rewards. That's a 10 times multiplier, if you will. And that applies to clear XP, monster XP, drop rates, and also gold drop. However, a lot of people already complain that they feel like it's not worth playing the game at correct rates. And keep in mind that this is a system that is unique to our version and that is reworked for our version. So this 10 times or 1000% multiplier is not actually the base XP, but it's a multiplier to the base XP. So even without rest points, it's not like you're playing at 0.1 or like, how should I say this? It's not like the 1000% rewards you get are the standard XP, but they are a lot more and they will allow you to progress a lot faster. And that's a good way to sort of keep an incentive for people to play a bit every day and also keep a bit of check on the people that do play every day on the same character. And personally, it's not as bad as it sounds. First of all, the first 100 or 130 points, it usually takes me around 1.5 to 2 hours to spend them. And to spend all of the 300 or 330 rest points, I usually take about 5 to 6 hours. So that's a good chunk of your day that you can play. And there's also other things that you can do that does not require rest points. Other than that, let's move on to the next topic that sort of links a bit into the rest point system. First of all, if you're thinking about leveling alts, I highly recommend to level one character to 65 first, or if you cannot hold out, do not level your low level characters above level 40. And there's two reasons for that. First of all, these systems that are in place called devotion, and I'd like to divide them into daily devotion and permanent devotion. These both of these systems are unlocked at level 65. And the daily devotion is something that'll pop up above your HP gloat. And if you hover over it, you can basically see what it does. And this bar fills up whenever you use rest points. And it does not matter which character you use them on. Any character can be level 1, it can be your level 65, it can be any of your alts, it doesn't matter. Whenever you use rest points, it starts filling up that bar. And sure, these bonuses are not really tremendously big for high levels, but for low levels, they're definitely really useful, and they will help you clear early dungeons a lot faster. And the reason why I call this system the daily devotion system is because if you read the 3 bullet points, the last one at the bottom says system and rest points are both reset at 6 AM server time. So that's the server reset. Obviously for European people, that's probably going to be on a different time. And whenever the reset hits, your rest points are going to be restored on all of your characters, but also the devotion buff is going to be empty. So this is why I like to call this the daily devotion, but there's also a permanent devotion, and you can access that by pressing your inventory key, and at the top, you'll see the devotion tab, which is also unlocked at level 65. Now, the devotion system says that for every character you have at level 40 or above, your devotion buff increases in strength, and that is true. However, it's a bit of a... I'm not sure if that's a translation error at the bottom here, or if I'm simply not understanding it correctly, but what I learned so far is that this level up bar called devotion buff strength is not actually determined by how much rest points you're spending, but how many levels you make with characters above level 40 after you unlock the system. I know this may sound a bit weird, but generally how this works, whenever you unlock the system, so that means you have a character that's 65, and then you start leveling an alt to 40 or above. Every time you hit level 40 and any level above that, you start adding points to the devotion buff. And how that works is, basically, the level you achieve is added as devotion buff strengths. So whenever you hit level 40, you'll add 40 points to this bar. When you hit 41, you'll add 41 points to the bar, so you're up at 81 points. If you hit 42, you'll add another 42 points, leaving you at a total of 123 points, and so on and so forth. You can guess where this is going. And this is basically how the permanent devotion works for me at least. On the other hand, these bonuses do not seem very significant. However, the last bonus comes with a drop rate increase by 5%. Sure as hell not a lot, but if you're interested in making alts anyway, you might as well try to get one character to 65 first to unlock these devotion buffs and slowly start progressing your account overall. The next thing I want to talk about are pets, because that was another uproar that was caused in the forums, and generally I can say as a very TLDR thing, pets are absolutely not needed, and that should make a lot of people, including myself, quite happy. The first two reasons are, or basically the main reason I'm very happy that pets were not necessary, is because pets are only obtained through the cash shop. So if you go to the EMP store, you can basically see that you can unlock pets for cred. Cred is a currency that you can actually obtain through purchasing and trading stuff in-game, so it's actually not that bad, but still it kinda implements the need to use the cash up function. However, as I said, these pets are not mandatory. There's two reasons for that. First of all, the biggest issue for me with pets is that they're quite incredibly expensive to keep fed, unless you want to spend more money in the cash shop to buy pet food from there. And if you want to make pet food in-game, you're actually going to start spending some of your materials that you farm in-game, which personally I do not like. And the other thing is that pets, while they do come with a perk and sometimes with a buff, the main reason I thought they were used for is for picking up items, but luckily, looting in this game is very convenient by hand, and all you have to do is hold F while running past items and you'll automatically pick up everything that's in your vicinity. No pickup animation, no crouching down. It's very, very convenient, and pets are absolutely pure luxury and not needed in the current state of the game. The next important thing to start realizing about the game, that there are daily quests, or dungeons I should rather call them, that you can start doing very early into the game. Now if you go to any of the portals at the very bottom, you can see this little swirly thing that is called Daily. Now that's one of the daily, that's pretty obvious, and you can enter these dailies 2 times a day. So if you hover over them, you can see weekly Monday, Saturday, and Sunday. Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday. Weekly Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday. So basically how the system works is that every day during the week, you'll have one of these dungeons unlocked. As you can see, this one's available Monday, Tuesday, blah, 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 blah. And now you're wondering, but why the hell can I choose everything? Because on the weekend, that means Saturday and Sunday, you are free to choose any of these dungeons, and by clicking on them you can basically see what the rewards are. For example, this one gives you a fixed hammer and a Monday box, and if you left click on it, you can see that this one gives you chaos critium shards. For the Tuesday one, you'll basically get 200 gold and another fixed hammer, and so on and so forth. So basically on the weekend you're free to choose whatever daily dungeon you want to make in order to farm the items you actually require right now, be it upgrading materials, be it more gold, or any other things that these dungeons give. There's another form of daily dungeons which is not that clearly listed, and for example in the Deep Rock Mine, at the bottom there's the Dominion Advanced Training Camp, and if you click on it you can see that you also have a remaining amount of entries, and this is the second daily dungeon, and I do highly recommend that you start doing these daily dungeons as soon as you can. Not potentially on the highest difficulty, easy is just fine, but these dungeons are very, very quick. You can probably clear them within 30 seconds to 1 minute. They do not use rest points, and they do give you special rewards that are otherwise not available or kind of hard to obtain when not doing these dungeons. For example, this daily dungeon gives you soul gems. These are first of all bound to your character, and the other thing is, I think this is the only way, at least right now, to obtain soul gems in the game. So these are very, very important to do. And the daily dungeons, as I said, they come with unique rewards as well. For example, you can get reappraisal scrolls from this quest. It's definitely very, very useful to start doing those. There's a third daily that you unlock at level 60. and that's called the PvE arena. And if you're back at the portal, you can see at the bottom right that Scar has another 3x3 entry, and if you click on it, you can basically see that it's divided into tiers, and those tiers are unlocked depending on your combat rating. And what the daily arena or the PvE arena is for is something that you can check out in Xanadu, or Xanadu, whatever you want to pronounce it, because that's where the NPC is located. So moving up to Scar, he will show you how this thing works, and basically give you a bit of more explanation. Basically what the PvE arena is all about is that it's divided into 10 floors, so it's sort of like a boss marathon, and if you die, you're out. So your best bet is to actually clear all the 10 floors. And as you can see, if you click on the easiest one, for every floor you start getting 1 medal, another medal, then 2 medals, 3, and so on and so forth. Obviously higher difficulties start netting you more of these medals, and you can use these medals in a shop to obtain Kagerfeldbadges, which are a very important currency to start progressing your character. Other than that, if you go back to the arena information, you can see that the latest one, the level 5 one, does even have a ranked system. And for ranking rewards, depending on how good, or rather how fast you clear those things, you'll get another additional box every week. So this is a weekly reset where you can start collecting more of these items. And I think this is very good. So as soon as you hit 60, I recommend at least start doing the level 1. It's not very hard, and if you're having around 8,000 or 10,000 combat rating, the first one is very easy, manageable, and it takes around 5 minutes if you're new to this. And depending on your gear and speed, you can actually break down the time to, let's say, 3 to 4 minutes. And as I said, these Kagerfeldbadges are very, very important. So I highly recommend starting all of these 3 dailies as soon as you can. The next thing I want to talk about are basically items, gearing, enchanting, and upgrading in general. And the first thing that I can tell you is do not worry about your items, your stats, upgrading, socketing, or any of that early on into the game. I really mean it. Early on into the game, it's going to be a gold sink, and later on into the game, you'll be very happy that you saved some of your resources and did not spend them early on. And what I basically mean by that is that just find everything you find. If it's green, blue, obviously the higher the quality the better, but blue gear is totally fine, even all the way up to 65, at which point you can start worrying about your gear. But early on, there's absolutely no reason to spend a good fortune on your gear. As I said early on into the game, gold is kind of a bit of the bottleneck in terms of upgrading. The other thing is, you don't really need it. If you look at my weapon, this is a level 20 legendary. Sure, it's legendary, but it's level 20. I found that while questing, so I upgraded it to 5. It was not too expensive. I spent around 40k, so that's doable. But if you just take a look at, let's see, this level 45 white knife, right? This is the lowest tier you can get. And you can see that the attack is almost identical. So gear is, especially early on, not that important. Do not worry about it too much. Just go with whatever you find. If you find blues, right click them so you identify them, then appraise them. That's actually well spent money. And just keep on replacing your gear as you progress. Keep an eye out on what drops from the bosses, or what certain mobs drop throughout the dungeon, and go for that. As far as enchanting goes, or enhancing goes, there's 2 things to remember, or 3 things that you use when enhancing. Enhancing is done at one of these anvils, just as a quick rundown. And basically how enhancing works is you put an item in there, and it'll use whetstones, that's the upgrade material, it'll use gold, and it'll also use a resource called stability. And stability is going to be the main issue that will bottleneck of how much you can enchant later on, because this stability, if it hits 0 or is below the required amount of stability, you cannot upgrade your gear. And this stability is repaired using fix-it hammers. And these hammers, at least for my personal experience, are the main reason that I basically hit a brick wall, that I was unable to enhance my gear further, because it basically hit low stability and I did not have the items to recover it. So definitely keep an eye out for that. Whatever you do, if you spend gold early on enchanting, it's fine. Whetstones, are fine as well. Just do not spend any hammers early on into the game. I really mean it. By keeping your hammers for at least level 60 legendaries, or preferably level 65 ones, you'll do yourself a favor in a quite long run. Other than that, as I said, elements are not really important early on. Same goes for soul gems, so don't worry about all of these stats unless you're level 60 or 65. Then you can start worrying about your gear and pay attention to what you want to enchant, how to use soul gems, and which element to go for. Another quick thing regarding gear, especially in the early stages, is if you hover over the gear, you can see that it has a selling price of 1 gold. So there's absolutely no reason to sell any of the gear. So what instead you're going to be doing is you find these salvage machines in any of your hubs or towns, which is this little, well, I guess this is the icon you're going to be looking for on the map. And once you go there, stupid me didn't know that in the past, but if you click on all button, it'll basically add everything you have in your inventory and puts it into the salvage machine. I don't really want to salvage legendary weapon, then again it doesn't really matter at this point. Then you just hit salvage enter. It costs a bit of a fee, but it's really not that much. You hit salvage and you'll be rewarded with a bunch of materials that you use either for crafting new weapons, allowing you to upgrade charms, or even create stuff like pet food and things like that. So definitely, especially early on, when items are not worth more than 1 gold, always do salvage them for materials. So the next quick tip I want to give you is, if you go to your skill window at the bottom, you can see help and options. And if you click on the options, you can see this little bar popping up, which one says auto target all skills. I think this is pretty straightforward. Smart cast all skills, that's not unlocked for some classes. And auto attack, this is a very helpful feature for some classes. For some other classes, you might want to experiment if you use or want to use that feature or not. Basically what this does is certain skills, for example, my lightning cat here has 3 stages or 3 executions. And if I have auto attack enabled, all I have to do is press the button and hold it, and it'll automatically execute these things as fast as possible. If I tick that off, what I then have to do, instead of holding, I have to click the button every time again I want to reuse this ability. Now for my cat spell for this skill, these are only 3 button presses. This is not too much. But for example, my Doomblade, where he basically goes slashing these 6 ranged attacks, it's a very convenient feature to maximize your DPS because you're not going to have any delay of clicking your button in between, as well as basically making it very convenient to just launch the full skill without any delay whatsoever. And just very closely to that, you may think about, what the hell is this arena I'm in? And that is actually a training ground which allows you to test your skills, combos, and work on things like that. And there's a very easy way to access it. Maybe there's other ways, but generally every portal has this resistance training grounds at the very bottom here. You just click on OK, and you'll be in here. There's a bunch of other options that you can play around with in order to test combos. You can put up higher or larger enemies, so you basically have a bigger target, so you can actually know how good or bad the hitbox of certain enemies is. And by pressing F, you can reset basically everything, cooldowns, and things like that. So you can use everything, and if you don't want to wait, let's say 1 minute for some of these cooldowns to come back, all you press is F, and you're back at the start, and free to ready to go. There's a system called friend point system. So if you open a friend list, that's either one of the buttons you assign to, or you can press escape and click on it that way. As I said, there's something that is called friend points, and how that works is every day you get 5 times or 5 deliveries that you can basically hand out to your friends, and that'll send them 200 friend points. As you can see, that by sending them, not only do you get 200, but your friend or whoever has added you also gets them. And apparently it seems that all the people in my friend list have not collected theirs, so I can't even send my 5 out. The other thing is that these people, or basically any of your friends in your friend list, can send you these points back, and then you'll see that the collect button at the right is gonna be highlighted. And these friend points while not tremendously much, they give you a little bit of a boost, and if you go to the gift store, these are basically all the items that you can buy with the friend points. Now the Kagerfeldbadges do not seem very appealing, but things like the gigaphone are probably a quite nice feature that you can basically get for free without having to spend any of your cred or any other means to get items like that. The other thing is, these friend points are linked to your character. So if I hop onto another character, let's just take a quick look. Any of my other characters where I did not spend my friend points on, for example, if I go to my Shadow Mage, that you'll be seeing that the friend points are unique to each character, similar to the rest points. So potentially you can hop onto alts and just swap to everybody else and start giving it. As you can see, here I did not collect the friend points, and now I'm just gonna collect them and get another 200 friend points each time somebody gives them to me. This is a very cool and unique feature. As I said, it's not a whole lot, but it's definitely in the game, so why the hell not use it? That amounts to a maximum of 2,000 points you can get every day for free, just by having 5 people that you can send your friend points to, as well as have them send you friend points back. Last but not least, I want to give you a quick, I guess, easy tip on how to level as efficiently and as easy as possible. If you click on these dungeons, you can see that you have difficulties to choose. There's a question of people asking, is it worth doing hard or insane dungeons? And the quick answer is, if you want to level as comfortable as possible, as fast as possible, and as easy as possible, there's no reason for you to run insane dungeons at all, as the experience, the item drop, and the gold rewards are exactly the same. So why the hell would anybody run insane dungeons? Well, there's an easy reason for that. At the end, when you kill the boss, on insane, they drop a different type of boss souls, which is used later on in the game, or it can also be used early on, but it's actually quite useful later on into the game, which allows you to exchange these boss souls, or so-called mega boss souls. I can show you them in my items. If you go to your crafting, for example, these are normal boss souls, and these are the red mega boss souls, which are basically obtained by doing any insane or extreme dungeon. But as I said, if you just want to level up as quickly, as easy, and as comfortable as possible, just run every dungeon on hard, and don't bother with insane unless you're 60 or 65 and you're actually farming specific items. So I hope some of you found the information that I have given you in this video helpful. As I said, these tips are in no particular order, and these are things that I have came across when playing Kritika Online. As I said, in no way are these the only things that you need to know, but knowing these things will actually help you a bit and might prevent you from, as I said, doing certain mistakes like I did them at the very beginning of my gaming in Kritika Online, where I basically just spent all of my money and resources on upgrading early items, which was definitely not the right choice. Other than that, I hope this is also something that might help a few of you that maybe not be so knowledgeable, or you're just looking for some information to prepare yourself for the open beta. And yeah, I really hope that it does the job. If there's anything else, something that I maybe have missed, or generally things that might not be as clearly explained or maybe cause a bit of confusion, feel free to let me know, and I'll definitely see if I can make up for that. Other than that, thank you everybody for joining me into another Kritika Online video. I'm hoping to see some of you guys on the European server in the open beta, which right now we still do not have any dates so far. Other than that, I do have, my inventory's full. Damn it. So let's open that one. Okay. So basically saying that we do not have any information regarding a new closed beta phase or open beta yet. The only thing we do know, or that I did learn, is that the head start is going to be 2 days. So for those of you who do have a Founders Pack, you will be able to play the game 2 days ahead of anybody who does not have a Founders Pack. Other than that, thank you guys for sticking around, thank you guys for joining me, and as always, see you guys next time.